Hey guys, imagine you are drifting in and out of uneasy sleep, curled against the rough ground, your blanket little more than a thin cloth. Dawn hasn't quite broken yet, but the camp is already alive with restless murmurs. The night was short, and the air still holds the chill of darkness. Then it comes, the sharp, brassy cry of the trumpet, cutting through the dim light like a command from the heavens. Your heart jumps, because you know what it means. The march begins again. You open your eyes to see men around you stirring from their slumber. Some mutter curses under their breath. Others rise with mechanical obedience. The ground is littered with the remains of last night's meager meal. Gnawed bones, stale bread crusts, a few scraps left behind by those too tired to eat. Smoke from dying fires drifts lazily across the camp, mixing with the heavy smell of sweat, leather, and iron. The trumpet sounds again, longer this time. It's not a polite invitation, it's a demand. You pull yourself up, your body stiff from sleeping on the earth. Every joint complains, every muscle remembers yesterday's miles. But there's no choice. A soldier's life is not one of luxury. It is one of endurance. You glance around as the company begins to stir into motion. Armor is lifted, piece by piece, strapped back onto weary bodies. The clink of chainmail fills the morning, a sound that is as familiar to you now as birdsong once was. Men groan under the weight, shoulders already slumped before the first step has even been taken. Boots are laced, helmets tightened, belts buckled. Each action done out of habit rather than energy. The officers pace like restless hounds, barking orders that echo across the camp. Their voices cut through the early haze. Form up! Quickly now! On your feet, men! There is no sympathy in their tone. Only urgency. The war does not wait for tired soldiers, and the march must continue whether you are ready or not. You sling your pack over your shoulder, the leather straps digging into your flesh. Inside is everything you own: a blanket, a wooden cup, a knife, and whatever scraps of food you were lucky enough to save. It doesn't weigh much, but in a few hours, it will feel like you're dragging a stone tied to your back. Then you lift your weapon, heavy with responsibility. The sword at your side is not just iron. It is both your shield against death and the burden that marks you as a soldier. The column begins to form. Hundreds of men lined in rough order, faces pale with exhaustion. There are no smiles, no laughter this morning, only the shuffle of feet, the groan of leather straps, the muted curses of men resigned to another day. You step into place, shoulder brushing shoulder with the comrade beside you. As the sun finally crests the horizon, the first steps are taken. The sound of boots striking dirt rises in unison, a rhythm that will carry on for miles upon miles. The earth beneath you is damp, the air heavy with dew, and the road ahead is nothing more than a faint scar across the countryside. You cannot see where it ends. You never can. At first, the march is slow. Your body adjusts, muscles warm, and for a brief moment, you trick yourself into thinking it will not be so bad. But soon, the pace quickens. Officers shout, urging speed. The enemy is out there, somewhere ahead, and you must reach them. Or perhaps it is only the next town, or the next river, or the next stretch of road. But you are not told. You are never told. Soldiers march because they are ordered to, not because they know the reason why. As the line moves forward, you glance at the faces around you. Some men look straight ahead, eyes glazed, already lost in the rhythm of their footsteps. Others stare at the ground, each step a small battle of willpower. A few whisper quiet prayers under their breath, lips moving silently to gods who may or may not be listening. The sound of marching grows louder, filling the air until it drowns out everything else. The beat of boots on dirt, the rattle of armor, the creak of leather, the sharp snap of orders being shouted. This is the music of your life now. A soldier's drum beat is not a drum at all, but the endless trudge of weary feet. The sun climbs higher, burning away the morning chill. Sweat begins to gather on your brow, trickling down your back beneath the suffocating weight of armor. Your mouth is already dry, your tongue heavy. You dream of water, though you know the next stream may be hours away. But still you march. Every step is a reminder of the life you chose. Or perhaps the life that was chosen for you. Few men truly want this. Many were called by lords, drafted from villages, handed a spear, and told they would now serve the king. Some marched because hunger left no other choice, the promise of pay their only hope of survival. Others were driven by glory, though they learned quickly that glory fades under the weight of endless miles. The road stretches onward. You cannot see the end. You wonder if there even is one. Behind you, the camp you left begins to vanish into the haze of morning. Ahead, nothing but the horizon. Around you, only the sound of men, weary, hungry, but still moving forward. The trumpet no longer blows, for it has done its duty. Its call has begun another day of marching, and there will be no rest until nightfall. And so the march continues. The first miles are always the hardest, for that is when the weight makes itself known. At the start, when the column begins to move, you can almost convince yourself that the load is bearable. The sword at your hip feels natural. The pack sits steady against your back, and even the chainmail, though heavy, seems manageable. But as the sun climbs higher, every piece of metal and leather digs deeper into your body. The armor is no simple garment. It is not clothing you can slip on and forget. It is a second skin, one that resists your movements, one that bites into your shoulders, your neck, your thighs. The mail shirt, made of thousands of small iron rings, clings to you like a shroud. It rustles with every step, scraping against the padding beneath. What felt protective at first now feels suffocating. The weight of the helmet presses down, trapping the heat, narrowing your vision to the path ahead. Sweat runs into your eyes, stinging them until you blink blindly through the haze. The leather straps that hold everything in place rub your skin raw, leaving red marks that will only deepen into sores as the days stretch on. Every buckle, every rivet, every plate is another reminder of the burden you carry. You glance at the men around you, and you see the same struggle etched into their faces. Shoulders slump under the weight. Some adjust their belts every few steps, desperate to shift the pressure. Others stagger slightly, catching themselves before they fall out of line. No one speaks of it, for all are suffering, and no one wants to appear weak. Yet the silence between the men tells you everything. Each soldier is locked in his own quiet war against his armor. There is no escaping it. A soldier who removes his mail to ease the pain risks being caught unprepared if an ambush strikes, and so you bear it. Day after day, you march beneath this iron shell, your body adapting in small ways. Muscles harden, calluses form, yet the weight never truly lessens. It becomes part of you, a constant reminder that you are no longer a farmer or craftsman, but a creature of war. You think of those who march without such burdens, the peasants who tend fields, the merchants who walk roads with light satchels, the children who run free in villages. Their steps are unencumbered, their bodies free to move as they will. But you are shackled not by chains, but by duty and steel. Each footfall is heavy, each breath shorter than the last. The officers, of course, ride horses, Their armor may gleam brighter, their cloaks may flow handsomely behind them, but they do not know the grind of miles beneath iron. From the saddle, they shout commands and urge the pace faster, oblivious to the ache in every soldier's bones. The road that breaks your spirit does not trouble them. Their horses carry them forward, and their burdens are lighter. Still, you march, because there is no alternative. To stumble, to fall behind, is to invite punishment or abandonment. You remember the stories told in hushed voices of men who collapsed on the road and were left to die where they lay. A soldier who cannot carry his armor is no soldier at all. The war machine does not wait for the weak. The hours drag on, and the sun climbs mercilessly overhead. The weight now feels doubled, as though invisible hands are pressing down on you. Each step jolts through your knees and hips, the iron dragging you deeper into the earth. You shift your shoulders to ease the pain, but there is no relief. You try to adjust the straps, but they only dig in deeper. There is no comfort to be found in armor. Sometimes, to distract yourself, you imagine what it would feel like to cast it all aside, to drop the mail, the sword, the pack, and walk free as you once did in your youth. You picture yourself moving without pain, without restraint, like a bird freed from its cage. But it is only fantasy. You know the truth. Without the armor, you are nothing but flesh and bone, soft and fragile against the blades and arrows of the enemy. The weight may torment you, but it is also the only thing standing between you and death. The men around you bear it in different ways. Some grit their teeth and march in silence, faces set like stone. Others mutter curses, spitting their hatred for the iron that chains them. A few whisper prayers, asking for strength to endure. And yet, despite the struggle, none stop. The march continues. The column stretches across the road like a living snake of steel and leather, winding toward an unseen destination. By midday, the sun has baked the metal until it burns against your skin. The padding beneath is soaked with sweat, clinging to you like a second prison. The smell of the men intensifies, sour, sharp, inescapable. You breathe it in with every step, the stench of toil and survival. And yet, despite everything, you keep moving. One step, then another. Left foot, right foot. The rhythm becomes mindless, mechanical. Pain fades into the background as your body accepts it as part of existence. You no longer think of relief. You only think of enduring. Hours pass, and finally the officers call for a halt. The column slows, then stops, and you sink to the ground with a groan of relief. You do not remove the armor, not yet, but for a moment. You can breathe without movement. Your shoulders scream from the strain. Your legs tremble beneath you, but you are still standing, still alive, still enduring the burden that defines you. The armor may crush you, but it is also the symbol of who you have become. Not a villager, not a wanderer, but a soldier, one bound to endless marches, one defined by the iron you wear, one whose life is no longer his own. And soon enough, the trumpet will sound again, and you will rise once more, the weight pressing down, the march unending. The path stretches before you, winding like a scar through the countryside. At first glance, it seems simple enough. A track cut by countless feet and hooves, lined by ruts where wagon wheels have dragged through the soil. Yet, as you march, you realize that every road carries its own trials, and the further you go, the more you feel them pressing down upon you. The road is not smooth, not paved, not even consistent. In one place, it is dust so fine it rises into your mouth and nose with every step, coating your tongue and making each breath taste of earth. In another, it is mud so deep it clings to your boots, sucking at your feet as though the ground itself wishes to pull you under. Stones jut up here and there, sharp and unyielding, bruising your soles until each footfall feels like striking against iron. The line of soldiers stretches far ahead, a river of men and armor, winding over hills and disappearing into valleys. You watch them move, each one a mirror of your own struggle. The endless shuffle, the bent shoulders, the careful steps over broken ground. No one knows how far the road will take them, only that it must be followed. The orders are simple. March forward. The destination is not theirs to question. The countryside around you is both beautiful and cruel. Fields roll into the distance, green and golden, dotted with cottages where smoke rises from chimneys. Farmers pause in their work to watch the column pass. Their faces a mix of curiosity and pity. Some make signs of blessing, crossing themselves or muttering prayers as the soldiers march by. Others turn away, unwilling to meet the eyes of men burdened with war. Sometimes the road cuts through forests, where the canopy closes overhead and the light dims to a green twilight. The air grows damp, filled with the smell of moss and rot, and every shadow seems to hold a lurking presence. You cannot shake the feeling of being watched, and your hand drifts to the hilt of your weapon, even though you know you cannot fight the forest itself. Then, just as suddenly, the road opens into wide plains where the sun beats down mercilessly. There is no shelter, no shade, no relief. The horizon stretches endlessly, and the men ahead become little more than shimmering shapes in the heat. Each step is harder than the last, as though the road itself grows longer beneath your feet. You come across villages along the way, some welcoming, others cold. In friendly places, children wave as the soldiers pass, and women bring out water or bread, though there is never enough for all. In unfriendly ones, shutters close, doors lock, and silence greets the column like a wall of stone. The road weaves through both, indifferent to the hearts of those who live beside it. Every bend in the road brings uncertainty. Will the next turn reveal a resting place, a river to drink from, a town where supplies might be found? Or will it only reveal more miles of dirt and stone, stretching endlessly into the horizon? You learn quickly not to hope. Hope weighs heavier than armor when the road denies it. The road is not just a place of travel, it is a test of will. It wears at the body, yes, but more than that, it gnaws at the mind. Step after step, mile after mile, the monotony becomes its own enemy. The world narrows to the ground beneath your feet, and the back of the man before you. Time loses its shape. You cannot tell whether hours or days have passed. You march until marching itself becomes your only reality. And yet, the road is also a strange kind of companion. It is always there, always stretching forward, never abandoning you. You learn its moods, the kindness of firm ground, the cruelty of sucking mud, the treachery of loose stones. You begin to feel as though the road knows you as well as you know it, as though it watches your struggle with a silent patience. Now and then, you pass landmarks that break the monotony. A ruined tower, crumbling into the earth. An ancient tree, gnarled and vast, older than any kingdom you know. A river crossing, where the water swirls cold and clear before the men churn it to mud. These places give you a moment's distraction, a reminder that the world is larger than the narrow path you tread. But soon they vanish behind you, and the road stretches on, uncaring. Night falls, and still the road is there. By torchlight, it becomes a strip of flickering shadows, the edges lost to darkness. The march does not always stop with the sun. Sometimes the orders demand you press on, stumbling forward while your body begs for rest. The road beneath you becomes a blur, your feet moving out of habit more than will. You feel as though you are sleepwalking, carried forward not by choice but by some invisible hand. When finally you do halt, collapsing onto the ground, the road lies beside you like a restless companion. Even in dreams, it haunts you. You see it stretching on forever, a ribbon of dirt and stone that binds you to your fate. You dream of walking and wake to find that you are still walking, the line of men moving forward into another dawn. The road has no end that you can see. Perhaps it leads to battle, perhaps to victory, perhaps to death. Perhaps it leads nowhere at all, only onward, onward, until the world itself runs out. But none of that matters as you place one foot before the other. The only truth is this: the road is eternal, and as long as you are a soldier, you will always be upon it. And so you march, not because you know where it leads, but because the road demands it. The first pain to rise from the road is always in your feet. They carry you mile after mile, the full weight of armor, pack, and weapon pressing down with every step. At the start, you tell yourself you can endure it. After all, a soldier must be strong. But as the march lengthens, as the road grinds on without mercy, the ache in your feet grows sharper, spreading upward into your legs until it feels as though your very bones are splintering. The boots you wear are not made for comfort. They are stiff leather, hardened by use, patched again and again, until they resemble more scars than shoes. The soles are thin, offering little protection from stones and roots, so each uneven surface drives into your flesh like a hidden blade. Sweat soaks the leather, softening it until it rubs raw against your skin. The rubbing never stops. It scrapes and burns until blisters swell, like angry welts across your heels and toes. At first, you try to ignore them. You shift your stride, you tighten the laces, you walk on the edges of your feet, but nothing helps. The blisters burst, leaving raw skin that stings with every touch of leather. Dirt grinds into the wounds, mixing with sweat until they fester. The pain sharpens, relentless, and yet the column does not stop. There is no mercy for sore feet. The march demands movement, whether you can bear it or not. You hear the men around you groan and stumble in the same rhythm. Some mutter curses with each step. Others bite their lips until they bleed, forcing themselves to silence. Now and then you see someone falter, limping heavily, but they are pushed forward by the press of the line behind them. No one can afford to fall behind. A man who cannot keep pace risks being abandoned, left for the crows. The miles stretch endlessly. The horizon remains distant, no matter how many steps you take. It is as though the world itself is lengthening beneath your feet, each mile becoming 2, then 3, then 10. The rhythm of your march becomes a prison. Left, right, a drumbeat that does not stop. You try not to think of the pain, but the pain demands your attention. It fills your mind until there is room for nothing else. Sometimes, to distract yourself, you count your steps. 100, 200, 500. You promise yourself small victories. Endure until the next bend, the next hill, the next hour. But when you reach them, there is always another stretch waiting, another promise to make, another lie to tell your body just to keep moving. The sun passes overhead, dragging the day along. The heat bakes the road until the air shimmers, and your boots feel as though they are cooking your flesh. Then, when clouds gather, the rain soaks the ground, turning dust to mud. The mud clings to your boots, adding weight until each step is like dragging a stone. The water seeps through the seams, chilling your raw skin, softening it further, and the cycle of blisters begins again. You think of barefoot days in the village you once called home, running across fields, feeling the grass beneath your toes, the cool earth soft and forgiving. You remember those steps as light, joyful, free. Now, each footfall is punishment, each stride a reminder of what you have lost. The road does not forgive. It grinds flesh against leather, leather against stone, until the body bends beneath it. The officers urge the pace faster. They do not see the pain, or if they do not care. To them, a soldier's blister is nothing compared to the need to reach the destination. They shout for speed, for discipline, their words cracking like whips. You obey because you must. The pain is swallowed, hidden, pushed down deep, even as it gnaws at you with every mile. At night, when the march finally ends, you peel off your boots with trembling hands. The smell is sharp, foul, unbearable, but worse is the sight. Skin torn and bleeding, blisters raw and open. You wash them if water can be spared, bind them if cloth can be found, but nothing truly heals. By morning, the wounds will stiffen, and as soon as the trumpet sounds, you will lace the boots again and begin the torture anew. Some men never recover. Their feet swell so badly they can no longer walk, and they are left behind, abandoned to fate. Others grit their teeth and press on until the pain becomes part of them, until they no longer remember what it feels like to walk without agony. For a soldier, there is no choice. The road does not care for wounds. The road only demands steps. The miles blend together, each one marked not by landmarks, but by the rhythm of pain. You no longer see the countryside, no longer hear the voices of your comrades. All you know is the ground beneath your feet, the burning blisters, the endless forward motion. The march has stripped away thought, stripped away identity, until you are nothing more than a pair of wounded feet carrying a body forward. And yet, somehow, you endure, step after step, mile after mile, through the blood, through the pain, through the endless road, because in the life of a soldier, endurance is not a choice, it is survival.